All right, let's talk about a service that can feel like total magic when it's working, and, well, a complete mystery when it's not. AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We'll show you exactly how this powerful tool can take all the pain out of deploying your applications so you can get back to doing what you actually love.
If you're a developer, I bet this slide just hits a little too close to home, right? You've built this amazing piece of code, and suddenly you're stuck in the weeds playing system administrator. You're juggling EC2 instances, fighting with load balancers, trying to figure out auto-scaling. It's just a huge distraction from what you actually want to be doing, writing more code.
Well, what if you could just offload all of that? That's exactly where Elastic Beanstalk comes in. The best way to think about it isn't as a single service, but more like your own personal, automated DevOps team that's ready to handle all that heavy lifting for you.
So what is it really? Officially, Elastic Beanstalk is what we call a platform as a service, or PaaS. And what that means is you are in charge of one thing and one thing only, your application code. You just hand over the code, and Elastic Beanstalk takes care of everything else. The servers, the networking, the scaling. It's really the ultimate you build it, we run it model on AWS.
The whole workflow is beautifully simple. It really boils down to 3 steps. First, you create an application, which is basically just a folder for your project. Then, inside that application, you upload different versions of your code. And finally, you launch an environment, like dev, test, or production, which takes one of those versions and brings it to life on real AWS infrastructure.
Now, your environment can have one of 2 different personalities. The first is the web server tier. This is what you'd typically think of. It handles live web traffic directly from your users. The more traffic you get, the more it scales up. But then you've got the worker tier. This is for all the heavy lifting that happens behind the scenes. It doesn't talk to users. Instead, it pulls tasks from a message queue using AWS's Simple Queue Service, or SQS, and just gets to work. This is absolutely perfect for decoupling your app so that some long-running task doesn't grind the user experience to a halt.
And hey, for those of you studying for certifications, here's a golden nugget for you. If you see an exam question about processing long-running jobs, like transcoding a video or generating a huge report, without slowing down the main app, the answer is almost always going to be a worker tier environment hooked up to an SQS queue. Bank on it.
Okay, let's get into one of the most important topics, deployment strategies. How do you actually update your live application without, causing total chaos? As you can see from this table, it's all about trade-offs. You're constantly balancing the need for speed against the need for safety and zero downtime. Let's break these down.
So first, you have the classics. All at once is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It takes all your instances down at the same time to deploy the new version. It's super fast, but it means guaranteed downtime, so it's really only for dev or test environments. Rolling is a bit better. It updates your instances in batches, but it can cause capacity issues, and for a little while you'll have a mix of old and new code running at the same time. Not ideal?
And that brings us to a much, much better way to do things for production: immutable deployments. The whole idea here is that you never update an existing instance. You just replace them completely, which is incredibly safe and clean. Let's look at how that actually works.
This process is just brilliant. Elastic Beanstalk spins up a whole new set of EC2 instances in a temporary auto-scaling group. It deploys your new code to these brand new, fresh instances. Only when they are all perfectly healthy does it swap them into the main group and get rid of the old ones. And here's the best part. If anything goes wrong with the new code, the rollback is instant. You just discard the temporary group and your original application is completely untouched. But what if you need to make a massive change? I'm talking a whole new version, maybe even a new database schema, with absolutely zero downtime and a chance to test everything first. For that, you use the gold standard, blue/green deployment.
The way this works is just genius. You clone your entire existing production environment, that's the blue one, to create a completely separate, identical green one. Then you deploy your new code to the green environment and you can test it completely on its own. Once you're 100% happy, you just tell Elastic Beanstalk to swap the CNAME, which is basically the DNS address for your site. In a single click, all of your traffic instantly and seamlessly redirects to the new green environment. Zero downtime, maximum confidence.
Now, all this automation is fantastic, but what if you need to customize the servers underneath it all? This is where .ebextensions come in, and you're going to want to listen up, because if you are taking an AWS exam, I can almost guarantee you are going to see a question on this. You have to know this stuff. So, what are they? Basically, inside your application's source code, you can create a special folder called .ebextensions.
You can put simple configuration files in there that let you do really powerful things, like install operating system packages, run custom scripts during deployment, or set server configurations. It's your escape hatch to get full control over those EC2 instances.
Okay, a really critical pro tip here though. Since these files are part of your source code, you must never, ever hardcode secrets like passwords or API keys in them. The proper secure way to handle this is to use a service like AWS Secrets Manager to fetch them safely when the application starts.
So with all this stuff running, how do you know if your application is actually, healthy? Well, Elastic Beanstalk has a built-in health monitoring system that goes way beyond a simple is it on or off check. It's analyzing things like response times and error rates to give you a clear status from OK to warning all the way down to severe, so you know about problems before your users do.
For any serious production workload, you absolutely have to turn on enhanced health reporting. This is a total game changer. It gives you incredibly detailed, instance-level health data, streams all your logs to CloudWatch for analysis, and, this is the most important part, it enables auto-healing. If an instance becomes unhealthy, Elastic Beanstalk will just terminate it and replace it for you, automatically.
All right, you have absorbed a ton of information, so let's put it to the test with a quick pro-level pop quiz, just to see how these concepts really apply in the real world. You ready?
Okay, first one, you've got a huge update. It even changes the database structure. And the business is telling you there can be absolutely no downtime. What deployment strategy are you reaching for?
And the answer is blue/green deployment. This is the classic textbook use case for it. It's the only method that gives you a totally separate, parallel environment where you can safely test the new application code and the new database schema together before a single user ever touches it.
All right, next scenario. A critical security patch just came out. You have to deploy it as safely as possible. Your #1 priority is having an immediate rollback plan if that patch causes any problems. What's your best bet?
You got it. Immutable deployment. Remember, the core idea is replace, don't update. Your original instances are left completely alone while the patch is deployed to new ones. If anything goes wrong, the rollback is surgically clean. You just throw away the new temporary instances. It is the ultimate safety net.
And for our last question, your security team says you have to install a specific third-party monitoring agent on every single server in your fleet. How do you automate that so it happens on every new instance Elastic Beanstalk ever launches for you?
Exactly right. .ebextensions. You would just add a simple configuration file into your source code with a command to install that agent, and from that point on, every single instance Elastic Beanstalk ever creates for this application will automatically have it. And that perfectly shows the power of Elastic Beanstalk. It handles all the complex automation for you, but still gives you that deep, granular control you need. So the next time you start a project, you just have to ask yourself, do you want to build servers or do you want to build your application?